The city was alive, but for Lily, it felt like the world had gone silent. Snowflakes drifted through the icy air, landing softly on her worn-out coat as she stood near the entrance of an upscale restaurant on Fifth Avenue. Inside, laughter and warmth overflowed, the sound of glasses clinking, the smell of roasted steak and buttered bread filling the air. But outside, everything was cold, hungry, and forgotten. Lily was only 10, yet her eyes carried the weight of someone far older. She held an empty paper cup in her trembling hands, her fingers red and raw from the cold. Her little brother, Ethan, only 6, sat huddled against the wall, a thin blanket wrapped around his tiny frame. Every few seconds, he coughed, a weak, dry sound that made Lily's heart twist tighter. "Don't worry, Ethan," she whispered, kneeling beside him. "I'll get us something soon. Just hang on." She looked around, people passed by dressed in thick coats and expensive scarves. Some avoided her eyes. Others glanced for a moment before quickly turning away. No one stopped. No one spoke. The city lights glowed, but for Lily, everything felt dim. She stepped closer to the restaurant's doorway, where a rush of warm air escaped every time the door opened. Inside, she saw families laughing, couples holding hands, children eating fries and ice cream. Her stomach ached, but her heart ached more, not for herself, but for her brother. When a well-dressed man exited, she took a shaky breath and said softly, "Excuse me, sir, could you please spare a little food for my brother?" The man didn't even look at her. He brushed past, muttering something about street kids, and disappeared into the night. Lily bit her lip, fighting back tears. Then, out of the corner of her eye, she noticed another man step out of a black car. He wore a long, dark coat and polished shoes that gleamed under the streetlight. There was something powerful about him, like he didn't belong to this world of cold and hunger. For a moment, Lily hesitated. Then, summoning every bit of courage she had left, she whispered again, her voice trembling but sincere. "Sir, please. My brother's hungry." And that moment, that tiny act of bravery, was about to change both of their lives forever. The man turned when he heard Lily's small, trembling voice. His sharp eyes met hers for only a second, but in that second, the world seemed to pause. Snowflakes kept falling, traffic hummed in the distance, and yet there was an invisible silence between them. He was Mr. Donovan, a billionaire whose name carried weight in every corner of the city. Known for his fierce business mind and icy heart, he had built his empire from nothing, and in doing so, had forgotten what it meant to feel. To most people, he was untouchable. But at that moment, he was just a man staring at a child asking for food. "What are you doing out here?" he asked, his voice low but stern. Lily swallowed hard. "Please, sir. My brother's sick, we haven't eaten since yesterday." He frowned, glancing toward the small bundle on the ground. Ethan's face was pale, his lips trembling from the cold. A part of Mr. Donovan wanted to walk away. He told himself it wasn't his problem. He'd donated millions to charities, wasn't that enough? But something about the girl's eyes stopped him. They weren't begging for money, they were pleading for mercy. "Why don't you go to a shelter?" he asked, his tone softening just slightly. "They're full, sir," Lily said, her voice cracking. "We tried, they told us to come back next week. I just need a little food. Please." Her words hit him harder than he expected. For a brief moment, he saw a reflection of his own childhood, a young boy, hungry and cold, standing in front of a bakery window, wishing for a slice of bread he couldn't afford. He quickly blinked the memory away, hiding it beneath his usual mask of indifference. He took a slow breath, then knelt down, something he hadn't done for anyone in years. "What's your name?" he asked quietly. "Lily," she whispered. "Lily," he repeated, as if tasting the name. "Stay here." He stood, signaling to his driver. The man rushed over, confused, but Mr. Donovan simply said, "We're not leaving yet." As he turned back toward Lily, his voice softened, almost human. "Come on, kid, let's get you and your brother something warm to eat." And for the first time in a long time, the cold city night began to feel a little warmer. The warmth of the restaurant hit Lily like a wave the moment she stepped inside. Golden lights reflected off crystal glasses, the scent of roasted chicken and garlic bread wrapping around her like a hug she hadn't felt in years. Ethan's little hand gripped hers tightly, his wide eyes scanning the room filled with people who had never known hunger. Every head turned toward them, a billionaire in a designer coat walking in with two street children. The hostess hesitated, unsure what to do, until Mr. Donovan gave her a look that silenced any question. "Table for 3, he said calmly. He guided Lily and Ethan to a quiet corner by the window. Ethan's thin frame trembled, but when a waiter placed a bowl of steaming soup in front of him, his fear melted into awe. Is this for us?" he whispered. Mr. Donovan nodded once. "Eat as much as you want." The children didn't wait for a second invitation. They ate slowly at first, shy and unsure, but hunger soon took over. Lily tried to hold back tears as she watched her brother finally smile, a real smile, one she hadn't seen in months. Mr. Donovan sat across from them in silence, watching. Something inside him stirred, a strange ache he hadn't felt in years. He had built skyscrapers, bought companies, collected art worth millions, but none of it had ever filled the hollow space inside him like this simple moment did. As Lily finished her soup, she looked up nervously. "Thank you, sir. I'll pay you back one day. I promise." Her voice was small, but it carried a strength beyond her years. Mr. Donovan leaned forward. "You don't owe me anything, Lily." She blinked, confused. "But, people don't just help for nothing." He smiled faintly, a tired smile. "Maybe they should." The waiter brought more food, and for the first time in a long while, Mr. Donovan didn't rush through dinner. He listened, really listened, as Lily told him about her brother, about losing their parents, and how she tried every night to keep him safe. Somewhere between her words and Ethan's laughter, something cracked open inside him. Not guilt, not pity, something deeper, something human. By the time the plates were cleared, the snow outside had thickened into a white curtain, blanketing the city in silence. Inside the warm glow of the restaurant, it felt like a different world, one where time had slowed and hearts had softened. Mr. Donovan sat quietly, hands folded, watching Lily and Ethan. The children's bellies were full, but their manners, their gratitude, their laughter, touched something buried deep within him. He hadn't heard the sound of innocent laughter in years. It reminded him of a time before money, before power, before loneliness had built walls around his heart. "So, where are your parents?" he asked softly. Lily lowered her eyes. "They're gone," she said, barely above a whisper. "Mom got sick last year. Dad tried to find work but he never came back. I think he didn't make it." She swallowed hard, forcing a smile for Ethan, who had fallen asleep beside her in the booth. "I'm just trying to take care of him the way Mom told me to." Her words struck like lightning in Mr. Donovan's chest. For a moment, he saw himself again, a scrawny boy sitting on a curb, clutching a piece of bread his mother had given him before she passed away. He had promised himself back then that he'd never be poor again, and he'd kept that promise. But in chasing wealth, he'd lost the gentleness that made life worth living. He took a deep breath, blinking away the sting in his eyes. "You're a brave girl, Lily," he said quietly. "Stronger than most people I know." Lily looked up, confused. "I'm just doing what I have to." He smiled faintly. "That's what makes you strong." At that moment, something changed inside him. It wasn't just sympathy, it was awakening. The kind that shakes a man's soul and reminds him that success means nothing without purpose. He stood, placed his hand gently on Ethan's small shoulder, and said to Lily, "You're not sleeping on the street tonight. Both of you are coming with me." Lily's eyes widened in disbelief. "But why would you help us?" Mr. Donovan paused, his voice thick with emotion. "Because someone once helped me when I had nothing. I think it's time I return the favor." And with that, a new chapter quietly began, for both of them. Morning sunlight streamed through the tall windows of a hospital room, painting everything in soft gold. Lily stirred awake, blinking in confusion at the crisp white sheets beneath her. For the first time in months, she felt warmth, not from a blanket, but from safety. Ethan lay beside her, his small chest rising and falling peacefully, color back in his cheeks. A nurse entered with a kind smile. "Good morning, sweetheart. You're both safe now. Mr. Donovan's downstairs, he'll be up soon." Lily sat up, her heart pounding. He's still here." Before the nurse could answer, the door opened and Mr. Donovan stepped in, carrying 2 steaming cups of cocoa. He looked different, the stiffness in his shoulders was gone, replaced by something softer, gentler. I figured hot chocolate beats hospital food, he said with a smile. Lily's eyes filled with tears. Why are you doing all this for us? He set the cups on the tray, taking a deep breath. Because last night, you reminded me who I used to be, he said quietly. I was a kid like you once, hungry, scared, wishing someone would care. Someone finally did, and that changed everything. Ethan stirred awake and grinned sleepily. Mr. Donovan, do we still get pancakes? He laughed, a real, genuine laugh that surprised even himself. You bet, kiddo. As many as you want. Over the next few weeks, the billionaire made sure Lily and Ethan had a place to live, warm clothes, and a chance to go to school. But his help didn't stop there. He couldn't forget the hundreds of children sleeping on sidewalks every night, children who had no Lily to fight for them.